Hey you guys, what's up? It's Digital Nana, aka Ashley. Thank you so much for joining me. I am going to be sharing my breast cancer journey with you all. So on October 23rd, 2020, I was diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer at 28 years old. And I'm creating this channel, these videos to hopefully share with someone that may be my age or that may be going through breast cancer journey themselves. And hopefully what I share will help, or even if it just makes you feel like you're not alone. Like that's kind of my goal here. So I have some notes on my iPad just of what I want to share, so bear with me. This is my first video and I'm hoping to share just a little intro backstory, how I got to being diagnosed with breast cancer and emotions, feelings, all that stuff. And then I'm gonna be also sharing taking different doctor's appointments, finding the right doctor, taking what's called a genetics test to see if I have the breast cancer gene. I'm also planning for a mastectomy, things that were helpful for me that may be helpful for you, and just conversation around my journey. So yeah, stay tuned for more videos and hopefully you like this one. So to start, like I said, I was diagnosed at 20 years old. I'm still 28 now, so this is 2021 now. So I'll talk about the type of breast cancer, and I'll make another video that goes into more detail around the type, because for family members and friends who don't have breast cancer or haven't experienced it or gone to the doctor's visits and stuff, you kind of like know on the surface, like, what stage of breast cancer do you have, what type of cancer do you have. But there's a lot of like other terminologies and different things that I think a lot of folks with breast cancer would kind of know or want to know in a video. So I'm going to share the surface and then try to go in and be a little bit more detailed in case folks have questions. But I have invasive mammary carcinoma. I had invasive mammary carcinoma, breast cancer with lobular features. Thought it was in stage 1, but after I've had my mastectomy and they were able to test the tumor, it was around stage 2 of breast cancer. I'll just share kind of how I found out and then maybe go into some details of how I kind of got to this point. I've been in grad school for the last 3 years, and if anyone that's been in grad school or any type of school know, college is intense, and a lot of times even just living a working life as an adult, or wherever age you're at, like working and living your life as people, we don't really take the time to really prioritize our health sometimes. In grad school, for me, I wasn't prioritizing my health. I thought that I was being healthy. I've been vegan since 2015. With an occasional pizza in the more recent years. And so because of that, because I had a healthy diet, I've followed Dr. Sebi's plant-based diet and guidelines for that, and have been really into organic foods and just living an overall healthier lifestyle, whether it be from the lotion that I put on the toothpaste that I use, or the foods that I eat. Just really, being mindful of that and trying to live more of a healthy life. So with that, I was really shocked when I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I'm like, I thought I was doing everything right. So yeah, so I was in grad school doing all these assignments. I'm a graphic designer. It's very intense, turning around projects, late nights, some nights, days where you're not really sleeping because you're too busy working. Also working while I was in school. I think I had 2 jobs at one point, then I just went down to 1. So working, trying to like live and afford this life that we live. So I found out that I had a lump in my breast, and so I found that out because I had gotten sick. December 2018, I was having issues with my stomach. I ate something bad. I think one time I ate like goat cheese and my stomach just like flared up. I was like having like irritable bowels, all the stuff that come with that, on the toilet, cramping, hot flashes, unable to move. Like I had severe cramping where I was like unable to move for like days. And so I ended up going to the hospital around Christmas Eve. I went to the hospital. They couldn't find anything. I was doing all these tests and all this stuff, looking at my pancreas. And then it occurred again February 13th. So then I went back to the doctors and I really started to actually get tests done for my pancreas and seeing what was wrong, what was going on. With all of that and with the test, I ended up finding out that I had an ovarian cyst that could have been benign. They weren't sure, so they wanted me to go get it checked out. Went to my gynecologist. She did a typical exam and she found that there was a lump on my breast. And I'm guessing this was around 2019, I think. She checked it out and was like, oh, I want you to go get this looked at just in case. Like, it seems benign, but it might not be. Went to my gynecologist, told me to go get the test and everything. So by this time, I had been going back and forth to the doctors with my stomach issues and stuff like that. I had to take time out of school and was missing assignments, and I didn't know what was causing it to flare up, so I was afraid to eat. I was just tired of going back to the doctors at this point. So there was a lot of stress with that. So I was like, I'll put this off. I have some time to kind of catch up with my work, and then eventually I'll go and get, I think she wanted me to get an ultrasound. And so time went by, didn't go to the doctors. 2020, so I think maybe like a year and a few months went by. I finally graduated in 2020, May of 2020. And of course the pandemic hit and everything, so that was, you know, we still in it, so you know, it was wild. I had time to take care of myself basically. Once school was over, I had time to put my health first. So I made an appointment with my gynecologist so that I could get another referral, because by then, you know, the referral was old. It had been a year, so I had to get another exam. Shout out to my doctor, Dr. Tangela Anderson Toll. She is amazing. Obviously, she saved my life, and I'm forever grateful for her. Wrote me another referral for the ultrasound. I went and got the ultrasound. Let me talk a little bit about the lump first. The lump, when she felt it, I didn't know it was there because it didn't bother me. I didn't have any aches or pains from it. It wasn't super large. Like, it was maybe like felt like this. It looked like my eyeball. It was not very large. It wasn't heavy. It didn't bother me when I was sleeping. Like, I didn't even know it was there until she pointed it out. I think everybody has different experiences with their tumors. So for me, that was what I experienced. It was no pain, no nothing there. Like, it didn't bother me. And she was like, I want you to go get the ultrasound, but to also keep out if it gets larger, if it grows. It seems like it's benign. You should still go get a test, but I think it's benign. It seems like it's, you know, a certain amount of centimeters and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, well, if it seems like it's benign, I'm just now paying attention to it. Like, maybe it's just a fatty, you know, cyst or something that, you know, women, I think at a younger age, you are more likely to have like different cysts in your breast, I guess in your body altogether, because we have ovarian cysts too. But I was like, all right, well, you know, I got some time. It's not that big of a deal. Like, it doesn't bother me. And once I graduated, I, you know, would keep an eye out for it, check on it. I would try to massage it. I noticed that it was getting a little bigger, not largely bigger, but just like it wasn't the same size, and I was like, okay, this isn't right. Also, one time I was kind of trying to give myself just a little self massage. That's very important for us to just give ourselves some massage, some self love, you know, but to also feel what's going on in your breast. Get a little feel up going, and a little rub a dub dub around and see what's going on in there. I did that, and then I felt tingling in my nipple. And this is in 2020, so I was like, nope, this isn't right. Something is wrong. This should not be like this. Immediately, that to me was a red flag, that I never felt tingling in my nipple before, and I noticed that it was feeling a little bigger, and it started bothering me as well. So it would bothering me meaning like it was uncomfortable to lay on sometimes my chest, or I would start to feel it and kind of know that it was there. Whereas before, I had no idea it was there. I knew that that was a red flag, so I immediately like made the appointment with her. She wrote me a new referral, and literally it happened like clockwork. I went to get the ultrasound. They immediately told me that I needed to go get, I went to get my ultrasound with American Radiology. If anybody's, I don't know how widespread their locations are, but I went there. They were like, we need to also do a mammogram because it's, the results aren't looking well. We want you to go get a mammogram. And I'm like, oh shit, you about to, oh snap. So that was scary. And so of course I'm like, well, you know, I'll be fine. I got the mammogram. The mammogram came back, and I guess it gave some more red flags. So then next I went for a biopsy. The biopsy basically is when they take a sample of the tumor, they stick this, that was like, it was a little scary just because I didn't know what to expect, and it started to become real. Like, I knew, okay, I knew cancer, breast cancer, mammogram, breast cancer, mammogram. That's like, you know, the connection that I know of, that, oh, you know, you should go get your mammograms every year to prevent breast, you know, to try to prevent breast cancer, see if you, you know, have it or whatever. And so once I had the biopsy and they had to go in and test it, I was like, something's not right about this. They prepped the side area. I laid back on a pillow. I just laid back. They kind of numb the area, and then they go in and pull the sample. So all my doctors have been kind of in different areas, all in still the state that I live, but this particular place was maybe like 45 to an hour away from where I live. It was also in an area that proudly supported Donald Trump, if you know what I mean. Already driving to the facility, I was feeling a little uncomfortable because I'm like, oh my gosh, like, you hear about Black women, the mortality rate with them giving birth, and just the racism that goes on when it comes to our health and our ability to take pain and all these different things. So I was already like, oh my gosh, like I hope that they're not like racist, and two, I hope that they are, gentle and kind with me and really do their due diligence, which was a little scary. But I got there, thank God and the ancestors and the universe. I had a Black breast doctor that did the biopsy. I was like, when she came in the room, I was so relieved. And if you know what it's like to be in a room with someone that looks like you, or even just a doctor that makes you feel comfortable versus a doctor that doesn't make you feel comfortable and they make you feel like not at ease. So amazing. I was so grateful to have her. She was so nice. She could tell I was just trying to kind of go with the flow, and usually with me, like, I can take pain, it doesn't take a lot for me to just kind of go with it and get things done. But she could tell that I was a little uncomfortable. She was like, oh, like, get her a pillow, so that, she wanted to make sure that I was like 100% comfortable, and that meant a lot to me as well. So anyways, they took the sample. Is there anybody in your family that has breast cancer or any type of cancer? And asking all these questions that to me was like, oh, they is something going on. And she was just like, I want you to know, like, basically it doesn't look too good. And I think she wanted to tell me that I had breast cancer, but of course the biopsy results weren't back yet. It was just from, I'm sure, her expertise of dealing with people that have had breast cancer and all that she was like, it ain't looking too good. But I don't think she wanted to tell me that. So it literally was just like trying to like tiptoe around, like, you have breast cancer, but we don't want to tell you. And so I think a few weeks later, so that the place that I went to, they have a breast cancer facility. So that was nice that I just had to go back to that place and they gave me this whole little binder and things. So yeah. They gave me a little binder. I had a whole it was like an orientation meeting that I had. I didn't end up sticking with this doctor. I went with another doctor, so that just showed me that facilities do things differently. So whereas I had an orientation with this office, and the orientation kind of like you would do if you started a new job, where you meet with everyone, you go through kind of like the training process, all that stuff. So like I had a time slot for meeting with certain doctors. So I met with the breast surgeon, I met with the oncologist, I think I met with the nurse practitioner, and maybe one other person. It was kind of drawn out, honestly. It could have probably happened within just like one meeting, but a lot of this stuff can be overwhelming for some people. So they break it down and they give you this nice binder that has all their contact information in it. They have like information. They have like a place where you can store your important numbers, save appointments, any medical information, treatment, medications, questions for the doctor, billing and insurance. These are all like the tabs that are in there. In my other doctor's office, they gave me a smaller this has all the papers in it, but they gave me this little journal here that was inside of, don't mind my papers, I'm gonna organize these today, but it basically has the same type of information, but just like a smaller journal version. So they gave me this as like kind of your welcome, like, here's all you need to know about everything. I looked through it or whatever, and I use it from time to time. But as you can see, I just have like all these papers, and I also keep the notes in my phone, just because it's easier if I have a doctor's appointment or something to just go in and keep it running. So yeah, so that's kind of how that went leading up to my diagnosis. And so what was I feeling? Let's talk about that. So of course, you're shocked. You're like, whoa, like it's a lot to take in, because I didn't know what stage of breast cancer. You know, everyone's always like, well, what stage, what stage? Really, for the doctors, that's not something that they really go by. That's kind of how it was explained to me. There's a lot of different things that factor into what stage of breast cancer you have. One of them being they test your lymph nodes, and your lymph nodes are tested. For me, they were tested during my mastectomy procedure. And so the lymph nodes also let them know, like, if you have abnormal lymph nodes, that factors in. The size of your tumor factors in, and also your hormones responses. There's a bunch of different terminologies that I'll be kind of explaining because I have my notes here. You know, there's a lot of different things. So I didn't know what stage I was at. I knew that it was small, and they said that it was fairly early. But they would need to look at some more things to determine the stage. Of course, I was kind of in shock, and I was just like, wow, I can't believe this is happening. But one thing that I think I was able to do for myself throughout this entire process was be, I wouldn't say positive, but I guess positive in a way. And I encourage anyone out there, if you are able to, I was able to reflect on my life. Like, I just graduated with my master's degree in graphic design, a field that I love, and got my second degree in that. There was a lot of things that I was doing once I moved back home from being away at school, and a lot of things that I accomplished within different various communities that I'm a part of, and just relationship with friendships and family. So I was very, very proud of myself, and I'm like, okay, I did all of these things. I've been able to accomplish all of these things. And even while, because I don't know when my gynecologist thought may have been benign, when that turned cancerous, or if it was always cancerous, because I didn't go to the doctors until about a year later. But I'm like, wow, like, I completed grad school with the stress of grad school and all that it was, especially grad school while we were experiencing a global pandemic, when school was closing down and all that stuff. And I was working on my senior thesis project, which is an intense project that you work on for like the last year or so, like a year and a half of school. So I managed all of that, you know, and was able to graduate while having this, you know, benign cyst tumor, whatever you want to call it, this thing, you know, that's kind of harmful for my body. And so I was really proud of myself. And in that moment, reflecting on all of that, I was like, you know, there has to be more for me. Like, this can't just be the end. Like, me being diagnosed with breast cancer isn't just the end. It's not, oh, my life is over, like, start the countdown to my death. For me, it was like, wow, I was able to accomplish all these things, so there has to be more. Like, if I was like, I got a degree in this field that I'm in, I'm like finally working towards, I started my freelance business for design, and you know, a lot of these different things were coming into play for me, and I'm just like, well, it has to be more, right? Like, you can't just like tap out now. Like, there has to be more for you to do. Like, there's more in store for you. And I was really hopeful that and knew that I was going to be used with this experience to share with someone else, which is why I'm also, you know, why I'm creating this video. I knew that if anything, this would be a lesson that I could share with other people and hopefully help other people through their journey. And I was really grateful for that, because I think God sees something in me, hope, and something in a lot of people, that he can use them to share or instill some type of wisdom and just help people through their experience. That was something that I learned within this process, and I was able to take that hope that there's more for me here, you know, especially being so young, being diagnosed with breast cancer, and it not being common for people without the BRCA gene, the breast cancer gene. For me, that's kind of how I looked at it. I looked at it as, wow, this sucks. I don't know what to expect. I don't know how it's going to be. But I'm grateful for all that I've accomplished thus far. I'm grateful for the things that I've been able to do. I'm grateful for my doctors, for my gynecologist, for even recognizing this so long ago and for following up on it, having the time to follow up and take care of it. I'm grateful for the Black breast surgeon that did my first biopsy. Just all these things. I'm grateful for my family and even my friends, of course, friends and family, all very supportive. So a lot of things to be grateful for, and knowing that and this is something that another nurse practitioner told me, is like, there's life after breast cancer. And if this is you're going through your breast cancer journey, I want to remind you that there is life after, during, and after. Because right after I was diagnosed, guess where your girl went? To LA. Okay, I had already had a trip planned with my siblings, and I still went on that trip. Like, I didn't stop the trip because I was diagnosed or because I was sad. Like, we went to LA, and we lived our best lives as much as we could with COVID, because there was a limit on what we could do. But I haven't let that stop me. And I know that sometimes isn't the case for everyone, because it can really take a toll on your ability to do things. Like, even with me and the mastectomy, having to not be able to do certain things, and you're being used for a reason, and we may not understand why, and we may not, maybe that's not how the outlook you want to have on it, and that's okay too. But to be as positive as you can be with this situation and know that there is life during and after, I think is really important, and that's what's helped me to be strong. And I've had my moments. I didn't want to watch any videos or anything. Like, usually if there's something related to food, if there's something related to how to do my nails or hair or my makeup, whatever, like, I didn't want to look at a whole bunch of things, and because I didn't want to allow myself to overthink or over worry about it, and just kind of let the process be what it's going to be. With the exception of my gynecologist, up until that point, after I switched my diet and followed Dr. Sabi's diet, I really didn't trust doctors, and I still don't to a certain extent. Not that there's anything against them. I think it's just the Western medical education as a whole. The medical system is also, it's part of the capitalistic cycle. So, they make profits off of medicine. They make profits off of people being sick and ill, and they make so much money off of these different illnesses and causes and things. How after all this time had they not found a cure for these things? But that was just kind of my thinking. I was just not very trustworthy or anything like that. So I wanted to make sure that if I needed to, I will watch a video and educate myself on certain things. When I'm comfortable to, I'll look up the different procedures and things that they're talking about. I think that's really important if you're able to do that. There's a bunch of different feelings that you'll go through, and I think as you're going through them, remind yourself that this is okay to feel those things. Then I kind of went through ups and downs. I think my main thing after being diagnosed for me was, okay, what's next? Okay, what's next? How do we get rid of this? What do we need to do? So that's kind of where my brain went. And then I had, some emotions, and the more that I started to look up different procedures, from lumpectomy to mastectomy, what were my options, it began to trigger a little bit more of some emotions for the kid. And so those were my two options: getting a lumpectomy or getting a mastectomy. Right now, I'm recovering from a left breast mastectomy, so you can see I went with the mastectomy. That was a process in itself of getting there. It wasn't just, none of these decisions were decisions that I just kind of like made overnight, or I knew everything that the doctors gave me. I wanted to think about and consider what would be best for me. One of my biggest concerns was being able to breastfeed, because I'm young. I am not married yet. I want to have kids though one day. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's not in my plans, but I'd like to. And if I do, I'd like to give them some mother's milk, okay? A mastectomy is very scary, because you may not be able to do that anymore once you have the mastectomy, because they take out all of the little, what are they called? The ducts that actually produce the milk. So right now I had my surgery, my mastectomy, January 6th, the day of all that stuff that happened at the Capitol. I'm January, February, March, 3 months out now. And I am currently still recovering from my mastectomy. I had a little scare last week, where my tissue expander got really, really big, so it looked like I had like a full implant in. And so right now I'm trying to recover. I've had to wrap it, but right now I'm having some bruising at the top from wrapping my expander to try to like compress some of that, which they don't know why it's happened. It could either be from too much movement or inflammation. So I'm also taking medicine, not inflammation, infection. So I'm also taking medicine for infection as well. But I have like this bruise. It hurts so bad, y'all. But we're gonna talk about expanders and all that stuff in the next video. Just wanted to share that's where I am with my journey. And I am working again. After I had the mastectomy, and I was kind of like coming to and not on the medicine. I felt like I could do my normal things. It was really challenging to just like sit down and not do anything, but I had a lot of help with that, so I'll be sharing that too. This is the first video. Welcome. Hope you enjoyed it. Like the video, you know, comment the video, but also share the video to anyone that you think this may be helpful for. Again, I appreciate you guys sitting through however long this video will end up being, coming along for this ride that is no longer having breast cancer, because that's what we're speaking into existence for my life and yours. Okay. All right. Well, see you guys next time.